And this would be the last Friday in a month that has certainly turned out to be the most dramatic in the first quarter of 2025. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief. We're upbeat, bright and early for you. I am Bukola Koka, and of course, I'm always blessed among men. Good morning, guys.
Welcome, Bukola, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Rose, and I have to welcome you especially. It's the Morning Brief. Welcome.
It is, and I'm Kayode Okikulu. Friday edition sounds as though Bukola is saying this year holds more drama for us.
Well, it seemed like it. Yet another drama yesterday on the floor of the Senate during calls for the immortalization of former chairman of the National Electoral Commission, Professor Humphrey Nwosu, who, by the way, will be interred in a matter of days from now. And there seems to be a number of for and against the immortalization of Professor Nwosu. Some are talking about his role in history. Some have applauded him for midwifing an election that was in a particularly challenging atmosphere. They credited him for at least conducting that election that is considered to be the freest and the fairest in Nigeria's history. And in fact, has acknowledged that indeed late MKO Abiola, the hero of democracy in Nigeria, won that election even before former military president Ibrahim Babangida has now most recently acknowledged in his memoirs, and that in fact he introduced into our electoral system the option A4, that ensured transparent process of voting in election where, the voters queued up behind their preferred political party, but others frown on his role in history, which will take time if we begun to, examine at this particular point in time. But, what this brings to mind is that it causes me to reflect yet again on what Jeffrey talked about yesterday. What is the fate of our democracy? If they're frowning on the role of late Professor Humphrey Nwosu in, what has turned out to be a most defining moment in Nigeria's political landscape, we can cast our minds back, to just a few years ago under the immediate past military regime, where activists frowned on the immortalization, the conferment, of the award of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on the running mate of the late hero of democracy, MKO Abiola. This time I'm talking about Babagana Kingibe, that he did not necessarily, work in the interest of the ideologies of June 12th, that he in fact worked against it. It just happened to be an accidental role in that defining moment by being a running mate merely to MKO Abiola. So it seems yet again that political interests are coloring what should be smooth sail when you consider what are the ideals of Nigeria's democracy should be. So when are we going to leave this crutch in our political history where we consider where we're from rather than, being first of all Nigerians in our thinking, in our approach towards development? I think that is the most the most important point that underscores what played out at the Senate yesterday, guys.
I think there was politics. There was also the regional bit.
The regional,
that's why the Southeast
bit as well.
Yeah, that's how the Southeast senators walked out, and you had a lot of people from the South, Southwest, that's senators, saying, I think their major grounds with the late Humphrey Nwosu is not just the conduct, it's not just the tallying of results, but the announcement of the results. And I think Senator Diola, Senator Shiomole mentioned that as well. But, sitting back and looking at this, you mentioned, Bukola, MKO Abiola from the Southwest, and hey, these are the things that people sit down to look at. They say, oh, well, he got the honor of posthumous, he was recognized. Kingibe as well got that recognition. There was a man who also was part of that in a very tricky situation, it's been said, and that's Humphrey Nwosu. I mean, conducting elections in that very, very tricky atmosphere of military is very difficult. So they say, well, this man did something difficult in spite of the fact that he wasn't able to finish it, but at least he did some work, and that's their own drive. But ultimately, it's what the Senate is about. It's what the legislature is about. It's what democracy is all about. There's a majority part. Whether or not the majority is right, again, I always say the people is another thing entirely, because the majority can say, let's start walking on our heads, and the majority will be right. So it's democracy, and I think lobbying would work for this one. That's the essence of lobbying.
I think that's the way you landed is the best way. They should have lobbied the senators that are against it. Humphrey Nwosu, the late Humphrey Nwosu, did a lot of great things. He's credited to, he organized the best election in the history of Nigeria till date. But their grounds, the people that are against it, is that final moment of announcement. They believe even if it would have cost him his life, he should have just gone ahead and just breathed up and all of that. But besides, when I watch what was playing our guys, what I want to quote what Senator Adams of Somali, a senator I respect so much, said. He said, we must be seen to have sentiment that reflects the average feelings of the average Nigerian. What he was referring to, in my understanding, is that Humphrey Nwosu's history or legacy is controversial, depending on who is looking at it. So those were his words. And I'm asking myself, those strong words, where were those words on the day, in my view, that the president unconstitutionally removed suspended governors as well as members of the House of Assembly? As divisive as that was, that did not reflect the sentiment. The sentiment of the people was not reflected neither in the Senate nor in the House of Reps. It wasn't. Because if it was reflected, they won't get the votes because the constituents are divided. So, Senator Shomala and the rest of them, I just quoted you to yourself.
In fact, Jeffrey, they're near unanimous if you consider...
Do you guys understand where I'm going?
The bulk of sentiments coming out of Rivers.
So let me read it again. Sorry, guys. We must be seen to have sentiments that reflects the average feelings of the average Nigerian. So an issue as divisive as suspending a governor got unanimous vote from representative of the constituents. I don't understand how that happened. But I have a lot of great respect for Senator Shomale. I just wanted to remind him.
And that's brilliant. Let me top that up. IBB just wrote a book, and you see how it was celebrated. Where were those sentiments as well for a lot of people when that book was released?
Exactly.
Because that was actually the person who was responsible for annulling the election. Humphrey Nwosu did his job
by now, with the greatest sense of respect to the elder statesman, he should be answering questions.
But hey.
And so the resolution here is, if you can confer a Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on Babagana Kingibe, you can as well confer a posthumous award in that category on late Professor Humphrey Nwosu, not just naming a center after him. So
with the greatest sense of respect to all people we know personally and we know from afar in the Senate and the House of Reps, please, Nigerians are not impressed. You can do better.
Nigerians are actually
stand for Nigerians.
Very intelligent.
Stand for Nigerians on all issues. Anyway, guys, what do we have to do?
Speaking of standing for Nigerians, particularly at the National Assembly, we're starting right there on the show with our big conversation today. The National Assembly is seeking to significantly reduce the cost of elections and improve the overall quality of our elections. Yes, on the flip side, that is, now with the constitutional amendments, particularly when it comes to, electoral law. So we'll be speaking with the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters to get some more insights.
Besides that, in this day and age, social media can pose a huge risk to children in terms of the kind of harmful content that they are exposed to and then emulate, they pick up these things. A non-governmental organization, that's Citizens Gavel, has filed a lawsuit against TikTok, demanding stricter content controls and accountability. We'll be talking with a representative of that NGO to seek how best we can make the internet healthy for our leaders of tomorrow, today.
All right. So, beyond all of that, let's talk marriage today. Evolving norms around marriages. What are the challenges current marriages are facing? Well, a couple will be joining us. We'll ask them questions at personal level that we can all learn from. The pros, the cons, the challenges, as well as, more importantly, the opportunities. Right here on the program.
This is one segment I'm looking forward to, I must confess.
Me too.
We'll also talk...
Me three.
There you go. We'll also talk Not just relationship security, but general security. Our security consultant will be giving us tips on how to stay safe and protect ourselves and those we love in crisis situations.
And last but not the least this morning, we'll be joined on the program by filmmaker and multi-talented broadcaster Amirat Yaqub for a very interesting conversation on creative digital storytelling. So join us and get a few tips from those who are making active impact in that space.
Okay. Remember, you can join us across all our social media platforms, but X is how you do your hashtag and get to us, as well as the email address as well. But let's get to what the papers are saying. And maybe today we'll start with the blueprint. I think that popped up in my face. Guys, I'm sorry.
Let's do that.
2027, no vacancy as Tinubu's second term in office assured Akpabio. These are the things I read that makes me upset sometimes. But I'll leave it. He's a party man. He has to speak as a party man. But sometimes we must understand that it's an arm of government that is speaking. When Akpabio speaks, when Tajuddin Abbas speaks, those are arms of government speaking, not just political parties speaking. But we can excuse him for speaking as a party man on this particular hour. When you always have an arm of government, always praising the arm of government, they should be checking. Akpabio's Senate is an interesting Senate. It's an interesting Senate.
Jeffrey, that's is a big talking point.
Economy stabilizing, minister, president marks 73rd birthday at National Mosque. 6 citizens continue support. Yes, please, we must wish our president happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Today, I promise you, nothing against you directly. I will excuse you.
Well, there's
on
never
the
been
fireworks.
anything against him from this side. It's just the truth and nothing but the truth.
That's what I'm saying. Today we're going to wish him, let him just breathe today a bit. But in case it happens in between, we're going to fire up.
Well,
but anyway, we can't take away the fact
Jeffrey,
that
Mr. President said, do not pity me, do not spare me. So
I understand
especially
that.
not on his birthday, but we'll wish him a happy birthday all the same.
It is his birthday, so that he will have strength to carry on.
Many Nigerians are unable to
criticism.
Celebrate their birthdays, don't forget, as a result of the policies of the administration.
Tomorrow, right.
Okay, his birthday is tomorrow. So since we're not on the show
the
tomorrow,
celebration starts with the mosque, the prayer.
His birthday is actually tomorrow. So we wish him happy birthday in advance, since we're not going to be here.
Yeah.
So just hold that for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Up next on our review this morning is The Guardian. The actors are there for you, well, the actors of our democracy. As Jeffrey would say, the dramatis personae. Their pictures are on display for you this morning. And what's the headline? Reps Mall return to parliamentary system, age limit for politicians. And this is interesting. So what would be the numbers if we're proposing a return to parliamentary system? It looks like there will be definitely a reduction in the numbers, and it doesn't look like what this particular arm of government is willing to give, such that we can finally arrive at that destination of reducing the cost of governance. But let's see how it goes. It seems as if the debate on all fronts is taking shape now at the National Assembly, and we're going to delve into that for you this morning. But that's it, amongst other constitutional amendments being considered on the floor of the Senate. There are quite a number of other stories there.
I think the thing I like about a parliamentary system, when I watch the UK House of Commons, is the fact that every week, 2 weeks or every week, on Wednesdays, they have their PMQs, Prime Minister questions. We get to see our president under fire before the opposition, But, right now in Nigeria, the president to speak is almost a luxury. There we see you literally every week. So there are so many things. There's other parts of has to do with the issue of removing immunity on governors and deputy. I don't understand what that means.
The reps have been in U-turn on that one.
You know what's even
for stability purpose.
We're not surprised about that anyway.
No, for me as a person, but my opinion doesn't count anyway. I think the people that put it there in the first place are doing it just for stability.
Your opinion counts.
No, I'm a journalist. I can't take sides.
In fact, your opinion is very weighty.
What I'm saying is that what I understand is that putting immunity for a governor's president and vice and all of that, it's just for stability, not because they are not corrupt or can't be corrupted or alleged, whatever. Just let there be peace.
Take away distraction.
But my point is that, Jeffrey, if it's in the spirit of accountability, or in extreme cases where, you know, the leader of a sitting arm of government must be called to question on an important matter,
impeach him.
On an important matter, and that immunity has to be taken away. It's you know, it's not something that the House of Representatives or members of the legislative arm of government will willingly or easily, you know, vote for, considering the nature of politics, you know, between those arms of government and their governor at the state level. And we see that play out during electioneering campaigns. So there's a lot of politics that shapes that decision, and I'm not surprised that it is.
I understand, but that's what it's just that the practitioners of our constitution, our democracy, are making a mess of it. Our constitution is not perfect, but there are certain things that are there. If we have a viable opposition and independent legislature, that's why if he's misbehaving or carrying out gross misconduct, you impeach him. That's what the law says. Well, but now when the appendages of the governors, what do you do? So
that's at the state level.
Yeah, at the state level.
At the state level.
Just imagine if President Bola Tinubu commits an impeachable offense. When you look at this National Assembly, do you think that this National Assembly can have the courage?
I know that that's a tall order for state assembly members to impeach.
I don't know.
You know, this conversation is really deep. You know, there's a structure you see on paper. You know, the old checks and balance thing. But there is the real structure behind the scenes, and I think...
And that's even a more formidable structure.
Exactly. So I think it's good to teach children, you know, the different arms of government for checks and balances. Absolutely. Learn in school, learn government. But when you are in that government, you realize that things are not what they ought to be, but we can find ways around it. And you know, the PMQ you talked about, Jeffrey, you know, it's actually a ticketed event. You can buy tickets for it. It's free, but you have to get tickets for it. Every Wednesday, some say it's performative, it's showbiz, but the point is you at least show up and answer questions. Take a look at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune now, and this story is just out of the blues. Wonder, where is this coming from? When you look at the Nigerian Tribune, you see alleged 2023 election funding. Atiku rubbishes link with Sanwo-Olu. And you wonder, where did that even come from? What's going on here?
This is a shocker.
It's a shocker. I didn't see this coming. But hey, he says, I have never met him. I had no transaction with him. Money transfer allegation aimed at sacking Lagos governor. So there's always one drama or the other every day. And Bukola says that looks like this year might be full of drama. So never mind that March is about to end.
This year, so you know, the House of Assembly hasn't met since after that reconciliation, that meeting with the president. So is this fireback time? I would like to see some fireworks in Lagos. We've had enough of rivers.
Jeffrey, we saw that December 31st.
No,
we saw those fireworks.
Those were, you know, what we call training pitch exercise.
New Year fireworks. That's good for me.
Jeffrey, someone will not be happy with what you are saying this morning, and that person seems to me to be like the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. I think he's very comfortable with the way things are now.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's politics. It's politics. It is. The president of Ghana was in Nigeria yesterday, and just to wish Muslim brothers and sisters all the best. I mean, it's been what, 28 days now.
Yeah, it's almost about time.
We're almost at the tail end. So pray that.
So keep going.
I'll be accepted. That's it for the front pages this morning.
All right, so let's go to the what you're saying on trends. So I think let's get to the Minister of Education visiting stalled National Library headquarters. If we can get that video for us to see, if we don't have it. Okay, I said Tunji Alausa. This project, you understand that is in perpetuity. You know, there are projects like this. They've always been there, back and forth. But maybe, can we get to hear what the minister is saying? Because so we understand this project has been there for a long time.
This is one of the many projects. So it's like the these projects are like gods. You just pour oil on it in the budget. You just always oil it. You put it in the budget, something for it. If it's 1 billion,
no, in
2
my
billion.
village, you pour kai.
Exactly. So it works.
For those who don't
different
know what
ways.
kai is, I don't know how to.
So they're like some sort of deity. You have to always oil them. Nothing is really happening. They're not serving you whatsoever, but money is budgeted for it. We have to complete it. And
it never gets completed.
It never gets completed.
So we seek to know
so
who
that's
the
model, right?
contractor is.
That's the model.
Who is the contractor of this project? How much have they received so far? And why has this project not been delivered? We see the minister
Since the
there.
Obasanjo administration, I hear. If that is the case, come on. By the way, there's a lot of this, but doesn't mean it is right. Come on.
No.
It isn't. How many stories? I can count about 8 stories, and you wonder why education is not getting attention.
And it looks really nice. But maybe we'll get to the next talking point. That has to do with Lagos setting the speed limit for designated highways, I think. Okay, you know, we've had that one on Lagos. No, the third mainland bridge is 80 kilometers per hour, but this is for designated highways. I'm not sure the highways, by the way, but at least I know Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Sorry, not Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the third mainland bridge. Ayodele says, the speed limit on a 4-lane road like third mainland bridge should be a minimum of 100 kilometers per hour. Who are these people in authority?
I noticed, so one of the few times I've driven this year, at least on third mainland bridge, I had to consciously tell myself,
yeah,
80.
I do that because that road is sweet.
80. 80. It's very tough because it's a third mainland bridge, and you just want to, especially if you are doing at night, you just want to get off the third mainland bridge, but you are limited to 80, so you are just very patient. It's very tough, and I understand what this user is saying. So it's always good to understand the thinking behind it. All right, the government is obviously trying to limit accidents, but is this empirical enough? Have you done research? The people who have had accidents, what speed limits were they? Fine, it's hard to find out these things, but I just want to say, there should be some sort of data, not just make those decisions. So if you say 80, why? If we're going to 100, why? What is the safest limit? I think that's the question. And this user, Person Papa, let me say that in pidgin.
Person Papa,
thank you, says they should enforce fine collection no matter where you live in the country. I know about a defaulter. Now, this is the heart of the matter, guys. I know about a defaulter who got a fine while visiting Lagos, but left for Rivers, and the fine was never retrieved. Collection should be strict and increase or increase over time. So what people do is they don't even take Lagos plate numbers, right? Because, you know, once the camera captures, if you're in Lagos, if you go to renew, you have to pay if your plate number is Lagos. But if it's not Lagos, if it's Ogun, Oyo, it's not Ogun, Oyo doesn't have anything like that, so you don't have to pay. So that's one thing that people do to bypass.
And, you know, this goes to reinforce the point that, you know, regulation of, driving and ensuring safety on our roads should be automated such that we can better ensure consequence management, for defaulters of our expressways, and indeed for every other offense, because we don't have enough capacity. And in fact, the approaches that have been deployed to managing these situations have not been effective enough. So we can keep making rules on the surface, but if there are no systems to ensure better consequence management, we'll just keep having these conversations. So what's the next person saying this morning? Or Zorife, I believe, says that this is a good one. I hope they install a well-visible speed sign at all the appropriate distances for proper awareness, and also inform the police and other task forces that drivers can unintentionally go a few numbers above each limit, but not with more than 10 kilometers per hour.
All right, Senator Henry, that's that's your name, actually. This is a wonderful development. This will reduce the high rate of accidents on the road.
There you go. I think that's the goal for everybody. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. But let's head over to Kano. That's northwest Nigeria. So towards the end of the Ramadan fast, there's always the usual Eid al-Fitr Darba. But we understand that the 15th Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Bayero, has cancelled or announced the cancellation of that celebration of Durbar due to security concerns in the state. So you understand, the two emirs had announced or are making plans for Durbars, separate Durbars, and you know what that means. That is obviously, or those are ingredients for chaos. So he has cancelled his own version. And you see this user, Ibrahim Sani, saying it's a setback to our customs and traditions, which will also affect the spirit of Salah celebrations across the state and the history of Kano's traditional incentives. So I don't know if the other side will be welcoming you, if you're open to attending, or if that has been cancelled as well. But
there goes our democracy again, Coyote. So Dr. Prayerman says, why do you want to cancel the Durbar when security is part of the scoreboard of this government's accomplishments? Hope the cancellation doesn't have anything to do with political annoyances meted to the north, particularly that issue of tax reform and the dominance of Southwest appointments, I believe you mean to say. Well, it indeed has a lot to do with political annoyances, the ones that were behind the scenes that saw the emergence of two emirs in the first place. So the remote or immediate consequences that we are now seeing is just part of the big story. So we must ask our politicians to better by us. Two emirs in Kano State, and what we're telling you about this morning is certainly not the best.
Okay, so we will move on from here and take a quick break. When we come back, lots of conversation. We'll start with those amendments, the Constitution. There are a couple of them. I think understand about 100 of them have actually passed second reading, but there's a long walk to freedom when it comes to Constitution amendments. We'll break it down. The ones time will allow us to look at that concerns you and I. We'll try to examine it, especially as it affects electoral matters. Join us in just a moment. Welcome back. So let's talk about the Constitution amendments. A lot of them have passed second reading, and there's a lot more to be done for it to eventually become our grand norm if it passes through the fires that it has to pass through in terms of legislation. We're being joined in the program by the Chairman of House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters, Honorable Adebayo Balogun. He joins us from Abuja studio. Honorable, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Honorable, there has been an avalanche, literally, of amendments. To keep track is a bit difficult, but since you chair the Electoral Matters Committee, maybe you help us with some of the highlights that is of interest to you that will reposition the electoral fortune of our country to even do better than what we've experienced so far. I could pick a few, but let me allow you to do that.
Yeah, thank you. Moving forward in this country, we know that after the NSAS saga, then the next issue we had was the end bad governance. And we know the only way we can ensure that we have good governance is to have good election. And that's why the 10th Assembly, under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, made it clear that the 10th Assembly will ensure that we give Nigerians a credible law that will ensure free, fair, credible, and inclusive electoral process. And that is what we have actually been able to do during the last presentation on the floor of the House. And if you look at some of the highlights, some areas that will actually interest people, well, we look at area of inclusion. If you look at area of inclusion in the electoral process, there is this bill on the special seat for women. And there's another one on special seats for the PWD. We have the inmate voting, a bill on the inmate voting, the people in correctional centers. These are large volume of number of people that have been exempted from voting. We have the early voting, early voting for essential workers. You know, on the day of election, there's over 3,000 people in the last 2023 election that were exempted from voting. The police, security officers in general, the electoral officers, the ad hoc personnel, all these people, and these are well-enlightened Nigerians. And if you are excluding people like that from voting, that means you are removing a large number of people who would have added value to the electoral process. We are looking at independent candidacy. We are looking at diaspora voting. So these are areas that we are looking now out for in the area of inclusion. And we're looking at cost effectiveness and time efficiency of our election. We are looking at abolishing the by-election. That means whenever you have a National Assembly or State Assembly member, either by means of death or resignation, instead of going for another general election, probably will make it the party affair, since it's the party that actually wins elections. So there's a bill actually on that too. And limiting all litigation to 2 levels alone. You know, presently we have the governorship election going up to 3 levels, from tribunal to appeal to Supreme Court. So we are looking at putting every litigation to 2 levels. The presidential is on appeal and tribunal, appeal and Supreme Court. The National State Assembly is on tribunal and appeal. So we want to remove 1 leg from the governorship onto, so that everything will be on 2 tiers, so that we can have time efficiency. Because our target is to ensure that all elections tribunals are concluded before swearing in. So you must find a way of cutting most of these times. And we also want to reduce frivolous petitions and litigations. People going to court with frivolous excuses and petitions, which are taking serious time from the judicial period. And we want to eliminate the use of the PVC. A bill is also addressing that. So, and the one that I believe will catch more of your interest is the one on the one-day voting, which is also on the fourth burner, to ensure that we have all our elections in 1 day. This will not only cut costs, it will also save us time. We're also looking at the internal democracy within the party system itself. Compulsory use of digital registration by all political parties, and which must be submitted to INEC. Clear guidelines by all political parties about their congresses and primaries. And INEC must be able to must be present in all political primaries and congresses. This is to ensure that we have internal democracy within our political parties. Because if we believe that it is the party that wins the election, and we want to ensure that we give them all these powers, there must be means of ensuring that there are also internal democracy within those parties. So these are the highlights of some of the areas that got to do with the electoral process within the constitutional amendments.
And there are very interesting bits of legislation, Honorable, but we also know the hurdle that this must also cross, even when they have scaled through all of the processes at the National Assembly. They still have to go to the State Assembly. But one that has been getting our attention in the last couple of days is that of 33 in the document, which will vest INEC with the powers to conduct local government area council elections. But when you move further down to 39, there's also another bit that is introducing the National Local Government Electoral Commission that will also be vested with the powers to conduct local government election. These 2 bits of legislative proposals seem to conflict. What is the thinking of members on the floor of the House of Representatives that you represent on this segment, as to how this can be addressed, which would give for the other?
You see, the process is about collecting memorandum from the general public. These are inputs from the general public. People sponsor most of these bills. They are not a product of the National Assembly is a product of Nigerians. So we had our various meetings. There was the time for advertisement for people to send in memoranda to the National Assembly based on different committees. The Committee on Electoral Matters has its own website where people send in memorandum, and we have a lot of engagement with various groups within the country. So where memoranda was sent in, and most of these have to be produced, turned into bills, then presented on the floor of the House. So by the time it passes second reading, it now goes for public hearing. It is at the public hearing level that people will now decide which one they really want. So it's about you, every Nigerian. It's not about us. We are just sponsoring these bills on behalf of various organizations, individuals, or interests. So if you have any bills that affect your institution, you can put up the bill or give us information about what you want to be changed. Then we'll call our draft persons to draft it into bills, then we'll now present it. So that's why you have a lot of views that got to do with the same issues. Some people might feel we should have a different body to organize local government. Some people feel it is INEC that should take over. Some people feel let's say continues and let INEC just continue to guide based on the section 150 of Electoral Act, which has also already given INEC the powers to produce guidelines for local government elections. So these are different views. So it is by the time we go for public hearing that people will now decide. Because what we have tried to do this time around is to ensure inclusion, carry a lot of people along. We have been meeting with various groups, organizations. In the last few months, we've met with the lawyers that are involved in electoral petitions. We've met with justices of the appeal court. We've met with IPAC, that is the inter-party committee. We've met with all stakeholders as far as the electoral process is concerned. Right. So all of them are coming up with different bills. So by the time we go for public hearing, we intend to go to at least 24 states out of the 36 states of the country. We intend to at least administer nothing less than 10,000 questionnaires in each of these states. And these questionnaires will now contain all the questions that we have, all the bills. So it's now for people to now pick what they want. And before we even go to the issue of questionnaire administration, right, there will be a lot of public education for people to understand what all these bills are all about. For example, if you are talking about diaspora voting, I'll tell people should not see diaspora as America and Europe. It is all other African countries. And if you want to go into diaspora voting and you don't have a NIN number yet, a social security number, which is supposed to be our own NIN number now, how do you ensure that people that are voting outside the country are Nigerians? So there should be a lot of education. And in ensuring that, we are already engaging NIN and National Orientation Agency too, NIMC, National Orientation Agency, MPC, all the agencies that got to do with this registration and information dissemination to ensure that every Nigerians get on board, get registered, so that we can now be ready for issues like diaspora voting.
Well, Honorable, and that speaks to the role of your committee, or let's say the National Assembly.
The independent candidacy.
Pardon me, Honorable. We'll, of course, make that point, but I wanted to touch on the fact that that points to your role as a guide in all of this process. So we can get proposals from everywhere and anywhere. But being that committee charged with the job, your role is to fine-tune and know, okay, which is most important to our electoral process. And our needs are quite simple when it comes to election. One, improve voter participation. Our voter turnout is very, well, abysmal, for lack of a better term, because you look at the number of registered voters and you see that 25–30% people are turning out to vote. that is not really good. So that's one key area. Secondly, to ensure the credibility of the whole process, to ensure that whatever result comes out is not the kind of result that about 70% or 60% will doubt, and that's 70 or 60% of people who turned out to vote. So ensuring the credibility of the process, ensuring that litigations are also not frivolous, as you said. So if we prune our needs, or at least our focus down to those four, what are the bills that you think are a must-pass bill? This bill must pass through this whole process if we'll fix our electoral system. Now that's for you, Honorable.
Kayode, we are your representatives. Bills that we make are supposed to reflect the yearning and aspirations of Nigerians. You just mentioned in part of your program here now that, oh, does this reflect the will of the people? Because we must feel the pulse of the people. We must come with what you want. We are just representing you. Being a member of the National Assembly does not make you a lawyer, does not make you an expert in the field you are talking about.
Honorable,
that's
you know,
that's to come in stakeholders.
That's what it
field.
should be.
So what we're saying is the process of making law. That's what I'm saying. The process of making law. I am not INEC. INEC is the executive body. Ours is to make laws. Ours is to look at what is wrong with the process. What part of the law should be amended. Ours is to just ensure that what the people want is put into the way it's now operated is INEC. So INEC can look at their process and feel this is what they want. They can now recommend. So in all this, there are a lot of people who want A as a solution. There's a lot of people who might want B as a solution. But it is the majority at the end of the day that will make it at the level of public hearing. For example, last dispensation, state police was on the burner when they went for public hearing. But unfortunately, Lagos State, where issue of ENSA started, people didn't turn out for public hearing to support state police. And in some other states where they didn't want state police, many people went out and supported the removal of state police. And at the end of the day, state police didn't make it back from the public hearing. So it is very important that that's why we will need you as the media. We cannot function alone. We have to function based on the wish and the aspiration of the people. I cannot on my own make a decision that, oh, this is what I want. I am supposed to just be an umpire and feel the pulse of the people. Our essence of being in the National Assembly is when you have natural discourse. I'm supposed to go to my own constituency and have like a town hall meeting. What do you think I should say on this matter? It is what my people say that I should be representing in the National Assembly. And that's some of the times when maybe some people come on the social media and I have a particular view, and they say the National Assembly is not in tune with reality. But contrarily, we are supposed to deal with our various constituencies. I'm supposed to say what my people want, not what you say on television. It is what my own people want in the Bejuleki federal constituency that I must represent. And if everybody represents their own federal constituency, then we have represented Nigeria. But some people, instead of going to their member at home, tell them what they should say, they will come to the television and start saying their own position. But your position, because you have access to television or any media, does not make your position that of Nigerians. We represent the people. We feel the pulse of the people. And when we get home, our people are still happy with us. And that is why there have not been any noise from any constituency. If you look at the issue of rivers that you mentioned, it was a clear thing. Look, when it comes to governance, it's not just about dancing to the gallery. It's about looking at major issues. We have an executive session where some of these things were explained to us. And by the time we had the vote, no consenting voice at all. And when some people said we didn't get the 2/3 of the quorum, nobody said nil. And if there's no nil, you don't go to division. Because some people say, why do we use voice vote? You go to division when there's a division in the House.
Honorable, if I may comment, just a moment, if you can hear me, Honorable, I don't want to go that part, because if you go that part, we're going to stay on this show and debate time and again. You are representing the Bejuleki, but the issue of state of emergency is divisive across the country. If it's divisive across the country, I don't understand how the National Assembly or the House of Reps, let me be specific, will have an overwhelming majority to say the president can remove a governor or his deputy or members of the House of Assembly. Just get my logic. The issue has split constituents, but the representative of the constituents are united. I don't know how that makes sense. But let me add something to some of the things you've talked about that you may help us intervene. I know that this amendment doesn't come every other day, but there's a part I'd like to ask whether it's been captured, because I haven't seen it, just in case I missed it. Let's begin with the very current issue. Shouldn't we touch our constitution in such a way to be clear whether or not in a state of emergency, even if the governor or the members of the House of Reps, House of Assembly are the dramatis personnel, whether or not the president has the powers to remove him or remove them or not? Is there a bill to that effect? Because it's now before the Supreme Court to give a legal interpretation, because there's something called discretional latitude that the president has. How far he can go is a different kettle of fish, which is why we're having the situation we're having in Rivers State. So is there a bill to that effect to bring clarity? Second, it is the Speaker or the President of the Senate or the Speaker of the members of the House that gives effect to somebody being sworn in and a member seat being declared vacant. It is the Speaker or the presiding officer. Is there a bill to the effect that when it is now the Speaker who defects, who will now declare his own seat vacant? Does your bill, any of your bill, capture all of this? Because these are ambiguous issues that politicians run around and put us in trouble.
You see, that's why I'm telling you that, look, we are representing the people. If you feel that a particular section of the Constitution is not okay by you or by a set of people, it is for them to make a request to the National Assembly. Then sponsor your bill through your member or any other member that you think can sponsor the bill on your behalf. So if you look at the Rivers case now, that had led to one of the bills that I sponsored, which was also brought to me by some of my constituents, that how do you define resignation or defection? And we now have to put within the within section 68 and section 109B to say that if you are talking about defection, then the member must have resigned and joined another party with a proof of resignation. There must be a proof of resignation and joining of another party, because that was what happened in Rivers now. You said you resigned, and after some few weeks, you said you have not resigned again. But if you have had a proof of resignation from your party and joining of another party, then that would have settled the issue of either they've resigned or not. Because it is when you have a lacuna or a shortcoming within a process that you now come for amendment. And it's not only supposed to be done by the National Assembly. That is my point. It is for the users of the law. I'm not a lawyer, for example. So if you are talking about criminal acts, if there's any issue within the criminal act, I believe it is the Nigerian Bar Association or lawyers within that are practicing this law that must bring forth areas for such amendments. If I, as a member of the National Assembly, didn't see anything wrong with the process, I'm sure I'm not going to bring up any amendment in that area. So it is for all of us to feel that something is wrong, do something about it by approaching your member in the House, present your case to him. If you're able to draft it into a bill, if you are not, you give him the explanation. He gets to the office, call his aide, they will convert it to a bill, then to be presented on the floor of the House. So we are not an embodiment of knowledge in the National Assembly. We don't know everything. We are only good in your own field. I'm an economist and an environmentalist. I can't talk about anything.
Let me quickly get this one across, Honorable. Pretty ambitious bills, but are you worried that, like the last constitutional amendment exercise, where 44 items were presented and then they went round state assemblies, most state assemblies voted against a very important item, which is local government autonomy, which has brought us to where we are yet again. And some of the items in this particular exercise are just as, controversial. Are you worried that we're going round in circles yet again on this constitutional amendment exercise?
You see, when it comes to constitutional amendment, emphasis have been based more of the National Assembly. Most of the time, we usually do our own part. It gets to the state and it gets taught. Most of the state assembly members belong to one constituency or the other. So by the time we have a robust public hearing, and people get to understand some of these issues, and by the time it passes, we'll encourage everybody, go back to your state constituencies, go and talk to your honorable members within your constituencies, and tell them what you want. And if they don't do what you want, then you will tell them they will risk their coming back. It's as easy as that.
All right,
but if you don't go to your members and you only stay on television, you talk to people one-on-one. In my own constituencies, I have my meetings with my people and they'll tell me this is what we want. And I must represent them the way they want. And if I don't do it, I know the consequence. So we must do the right thing. We must take the power. Democracy is about taking powers. And the power is with the people.
All right,
and if you don't use it well at the right time.
Okay.
And we intend to complete all this amendment by December. We intend to complete this amendment by December, so we have an ample time before general election.
Okay.
So you can wait within your constituency. We're going to go to your state, go to your assemblyman. If you don't do this, election is next year. We'll wait for you.
Okay, Honorable.
That is the way out.
Honorable, great point you've made, and I'm happy you're quite honest with your position as to the fact that all hands must be on deck, but the media has also played a key role
Thank you so much.
In bringing awareness, which is why since I live in Lagos, even if I don't live in Ibejuleke, I'm telling you now, on behalf of those of us who are interested in clarity, state of emergency, let's capture it and know how far the president can go. Issues of giving effect to when the speaker or the Senate president defects, let's also capture it. But we must thank you as well, Honorable, for coming on the program.
And on that one, can I get 20 minutes?
No, you don't have a minute. You have 10 seconds.
Can I get a minute?
10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds. You see, on that, it is only a court of competent jurisdiction that can decide if a member is still a member or not when you talk about defection. Because it has to be decided at the court. Because there are conditions to meet for you to defect without losing your seat. And it's only the court that can decide that. It's not just the presiding officer that will decide. Thank you so much.
I understand you perfectly. I'm saying the speaker defects, it now goes to courts, and then it gives effect to his defection. Honorable Adebayo Balogun, Chairman, House Committee on Electoral Matters. We'd like to have you again as this progresses, but thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll switch gears from amendment of the Constitution and talk about how to protect our children from things that happen online. In just a moment, join us again.
We're moving on to the safety of our children online. Yes, it's been democratized. Anybody can gain access to social media platforms. But when our children are on the internet, particularly on social media sites, what are they exposed to, and how are these platforms ensuring that children are also safe? Well, there's a civil society organization which has taken one of the social media platforms to court over the safety of minors, ensuring that they are protected in this digital age. And we have joining us on the show senior legal assistant or senior legal analyst, the Citizens Gavel, Sylvester Aggie. Good morning, Mr. Aggie. You're welcome to the Morning Brief.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
So I was reading that, about 14 states in the U.S. sued TikTok, the attorneys general, about 7 families in France sued TikTok. The Justice Department in the U.S. sued TikTok. You look around and you see TikTok being sued here and there. But, a lot of people love TikTok. I'm not going to mention names, even right there in the studio.
Right.
But what did you see? Because this is a bigger conversation, even beyond TikTok. Yes, this case is about TikTok, but this is a bigger conversation about the safety of our children. What are the things that you saw that were of concern to you?
Yeah, okay. Well, so in answering that question, let me kindly read a very short tweet by an ex-user. This is what he said, and that would, I think, form the basis of our conversation. His handle is Max Vezia. He posted this about 5 days ago. He said, when you spend 5 minutes on TikTok, you will understand why birthing a female child is, while birthing a female child in this generation is a very bad risk. Now, you may be wondering why an ex-user would say this, and if you go on X, you'll find a lot of conversations around TikTok. Why this? Now, last year, we had a collaboration with Hertford Foundation where we visit schools, strategic schools, and sensitize them on their rights, both online and offline. And in so doing, there were certain questions we asked. Are they on social media? Do they have social media handles? Do they use the social media platforms? They answered yes. And we asked them what platforms in particular. A majority of them answered TikTok. Now, that got us wondering, because this is a GS2 class, so that means that they are between the ages of, say, around 12 to, say, 14. Now, on TikTok, ordinarily, you need to be up to 18 before you ordinarily can register, right? Now, that becomes an issue, because the question is, how are these guys able to access TikTok, at that age? Now, we did some digging, and then we found that on TikTok, you don't even need to register. You don't need to sign up before you can make use of TikTok. You only need to, if you're able to type in www.tiktok.com on your browser, you are in there. You're able to consume content.
Even though TikTok will say that, well, if you're 13 years old or older, you can use TikTok, not just 18.
But here, you don't even need to be up to that age. You could use, and that becomes a problem. Now, we all know that the TikTok is actually an application where creatives show their talent. So you have something interesting you want to show to the people, you go ahead, record yourself, post, and then people watch, like, share, and comment. Basically, that's the original idea about TikTok. But what we've come to realize at the moment is that, Nigerians in particular, blow this, out of context. So you find that certain kind of challenges that go on are inappropriate. It includes having minors, actually, not even just young ladies, but having minors exposing sensitive part of their bodies in the name of challenge or dare. And that is what, has become concerning. Now, of course, several other countries have sued TikTok for several other reasons, but in the course of this conversation, you will also hear that Citizens Gather decided to take steps against TikTok, particularly because of some of these, immoral activities that go on that platform.
Well, you said you must be 18 years and above to be able
13,
to...
actually.
13, and that's why I want to draw your attention to. When you look at the rules and regulations guiding your admittance into TikTok, what it says is here is that you must be 13 years and older to have an account. And that's quite concerning for parents who have teenagers. And I'm just wondering if we've reflected really based on these rules as a country, as a people, on the easy access of our young people to content online. Because as adults, when you open your social media, not even TikTok, even other social media accounts, and certain things that you see alarm you. And in relation to that, I'd like to ask you what your reliefs would be that you're seeking in this suit against TikTok.
All right. So our reliefs are primarily two. First is for TikTok to have a policy in place where age is verified, age of users are verified before they are allowed to use. Now, like you rightly said, and thanks for that correction, it's 13, actually not 18. Our concern is that, given the kind of content, that people consume on TikTok, we feel that the ages of these young persons in particular should be verified before they are allowed access to TikTok. But again, like I said, anyone at all can access TikTok at the moment, regardless of your age, by simply dialing www.tiktok.com, and you are in there. We feel it shouldn't be that way. So one of the reliefs we are seeking from the court is for the court to make a pronouncement that for users, those who would like to use the platform, they should firstly, sign up. And in the process of signing up, their ages should be verified. TikTok should be able to verify that, yes, these people are of the age that they claim to be before they are allowed access to it. That's one. Secondly, we have a concern around the live session of TikTok. So you find that people go on live session, invite young ladies again, to, like I said, expose themselves. And in so doing, TikTok does not moderate. TikTok does not monitor. So they do whatever they want to do online, and they post it for that to see. And it goes back to the issues of protecting, our young ones, because they consume some of these things. Now, the second relief we are asking from the court is for TikTok to have a real-time, a monitoring mechanism. For instance, an AI tool that would immediately flag off a live session where inappropriate content or activities, are taking place. So these are primarily the two reliefs that we are, of course, among other reliefs. Yeah.
I love TikTok, but I don't like all those. I don't think I've ever gone to any of those challenges, and it's very concerning. There are two parts. You have mentioned one, the immoral part, and then the ridiculous part.
Right.
There are so many. When I'm pointed to some of the challenges, because I really don't understand those challenges. They say they want to do this challenge, that challenge. One time, I think I saw somebody running around the bush. I don't even understand all of that. So are you factoring that as well? Because the content creators themselves are saying part of the reason why they had to do ludicrous things is because TikTok is not paying content creators in Nigeria like it pays those abroad. So what they now do, they have their friends in the UK and in the US registering for them so that they can accrue as much effects to themselves, because if they do it from Nigeria, it's going to be a waste. So are you looking at the entire picture?
Okay, so for now, I think the part that really concerns us is actually the immoral aspect, right? So we're trying to protect our young ones.
Because that's part of the driver.
True, actually true. But of course, it's a step. Okay. So for speaking specifically to the suit before the court, it deals with the immoral angle where, people go online and do certain acts that we consider as inappropriate. So we are trying to check that first. And of course, the next step might be that angle that you just referenced.
Well, this is a lot of work, because it's not just TikTok. You find out that you can mention that how many social media platforms that there are new social media platforms I've never heard of, and you have thousands, if not millions of young Nigerians on it. Never heard of it, but you find it, those platforms on their device. So is this just a platform thing, or society, parenting, guardian thing? Because you realize that a lot of these young people have the access they have, or at least they have the free hand, the leeway they have, because there isn't as much monitoring on that bit. So while you're going to court to seek those reliefs as well, which should solve a lot of the problem, I imagine, but some would also tell you that, what about the parents, the guardians? Because what you find out is the children will just find another platform or just go to other websites, God forbid, and just still vent that particular thing they want to vent in that sense.
Right. So I think that the parents, they have a lot of role to play. They have a very huge role to play in this, because for some persons, they will tell you that, look, my child must attain certain age before he or she can access, a device such as a phone or a laptop and all that. It has its pros and cons. So if a child has access to a phone at a very tender age, the likelihood of they, coming across some of these platforms, very huge. And, but if, again, as a parent, you decide that, look, if my child is not up to this age, I would not allow him or her to use some of these devices. You are in a way cutting down on the possibility, of them actually coming across some of these social media platforms that are concerning to us. So, as parents, there is need for, us to ensure that we pay attention to some of the content, or most of the contents that our children consume at the end of the day, because you find that some of the parents actually don't mind. Some of these TikTok challenges are done even right in their presence, and they don't, bother to caution their child and all that. And some of these challenges, they are such that it starts very little. Maybe it could just be a young lady dancing, and it graduates to something else because, of course, their parents saw them doing that and failed to caution them. So really, the parents need to do a lot in this regard.
And we can't talk enough about that. There's a proposal coming through for these social media platforms to have offices in the country, as they do in other parts of the world. And there are considerations also for regulation of content creator from the Film and Video Censors Board. Now, are these proposals belated in terms of regulating the social media space? Do they carry the necessary zeal required to ensure sanity on the social media space? And do you find the intention that you are taking up as an organization, for instance, in some of these considerations?
All right. Yeah, so absolutely. So whereas I've not seen the content of some of these ongoing bills and like that, however, I would say that the intention actually covers some of the things we are particularly seeking from the court. So in respect of the case before the court, of course, we are trying to protect public morality.
Right.
Basically, that's what we're trying to do. And if regulating, content creation, among other things, will cope that, then absolutely.
There you go.
Right, absolutely.
Well, wish you the very best. I think it's an all-of-society approach, and I really hope that different ends will find they'll sort themselves, the platforms,
Yes.
the governance of it, the parenting of it. But we have to thank you so much. I've been speaking with Mr. Sylvester Agi, Senior Legal Analyst at Citizens Capital. Thank you for your time, and once again, wish you the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, one of the segments I've been looking forward to. We'll have a couple right here joining us, and of course, you know what we're talking about, so please stay with us.
We do a lot of work to visit your constituency, depending on where that is. It could be any part of the world. We visit the political constituency, the economic constituency, but the constituency that perhaps is the most important, that we're becoming more intentional about on the program, is the family constituency. It's the most important, right? Because everyone is from a family. So we're looking at secrets to a long-lasting, enduring marriage. Welcome to the segment on the program, and join me to welcome Mr. and Mrs. Ekong. Mr. Victor Ekong is an architect. Welcome to the program. And Mrs. Adedoyin Ekong is a DevOps engineer. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to lie. But we're not talking about architecture or engineering this morning. We're talking about your unique story. You've been married for 28 years.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And Mr. Ekong is, I believe, is from the South.
Yes.
And Mrs. Ekong is from the Southwest. Amazing. That makes it even more unique. So, ladies first.
Okay.
Let's start from the very beginning. The love story. How did it start, Mrs. Ekong?
All right. Thank you so much for having us. It's good to be here. And good morning to the viewers. We started, I was in school. I was rounding up my higher school, and he came for a wedding, a mutual friend, and we just got talking. He dropped us at the wedding. I didn't know that I didn't have anything on my mind. I was just a young lady finishing school and looking forward to what the future holds. And he just asked me for my contact. There was no GSM then. So I gave it my address, my sister's address in Lagos. And we just parted ways like that. And a month or two later, I just saw somebody at the door. I was like, wow.
Wonderful.
He had changed, He came with a purpose. And that was how we started going out. And
Let's hear.
1 year, we got married.
1 year, beautiful. Yeah. Let's hear from Mr. Ekong's perspective.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Yes, it was a time when something clicked in me. I knew I was just ready to get married, and that I would take every action with intent and with purpose. So I had this friend who invited me for a wedding, and I went along. So we went, and I met her. From afar, I observed, well, like what I saw. And during the wedding, I managed to ask a few questions. Good enough, I got her address. And, I went back. For a few weeks, I couldn't get out of my mind. And I decided to...
Beautiful.
I decided to pay a visit. Before then, well, I did some tweaking to my appearance. And I was very intentional, and well, the rest is history.
It's history, yeah.
A bit of change.
I love love, and I love the love story.
Me too, right?
If you're single and you're invited to weddings, please attend.
Attend.
Because you don't know what may come out of it. But it's beautiful to see how you look at each other. I've been noticing, you know, how you chuckle, and it's been 28 years.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people see marriage as, and it's warped to a large extent, is having just one channel to watch. I don't know if you've heard that before. They say it will be boring just watching one channel every day. But still seeing you people, there's that. I imagine you still have butterflies, there's still the sparks. Obviously, there'll still be the other part of it. But I don't want to ask for secrets to long-lasting marriage, but I just want to ask how you're able to swim against the tide, right? Because this is a time where a lot of marriages are challenged. Then you didn't have to give her your phone number. There was no social media. There was no give me your handle. There was no posting online. But now we have all of those things, and it looks like they are choking relationships, choking marriages out. So how are you people able to swim against the tide and still have a beautiful relationship? I'll start with you.
Well, like you said 28 years, going to be 29 in April. Ooh. And I still ask myself, how did I get here? As in, the years just went by like that. And I think it's one of the major things is we were intentional. I entered marriage with intentionality, you know. I saw my father, my father took care of my mom, so I saw how a marriage should be. So I went in with that focus, and I went in knowing that I should submit to my husband. My husband should love me, and we make ourselves priority. That's the truth. We make ourselves priority. We make sure that it's all about us. You know, the two of us. We don't share things. We don't tell. I don't tell anybody about what like you said. We've had challenging times, which is normal. But we ask ourselves questions. How we go? Before we started, we knew we were going the same direction. That's very important. We're going the same direction, and we focused. We didn't lose, you know, we didn't lose focus through the challenges. We sit down, we talk. I make sure that I don't disrespect my husband. That's one thing that I do intentionally. Yeah, when we lock our room door, we can trash it out. But even my children don't see us. Yesterday, my housekeeper was asking me that, you're going on TV. Now, let me be the one that will ask you the question first. She's been with me for 4 years. She said, I've never seen you quarrel with Oga. That she's worked with people that fight. I said, well, it's everybody's decision. I want to stay married till death do us part. That's the thing. And I want my children to see, because I know that many marriages today have damaged some children.
Sure.
People don't want to marry, then social media's influence, you know, the noise is so loud. But the thing is that they are good marriages.
Please say that again.
It's just that
Please say that again. I need you to say it for the people at the back.
There are millions of good marriages. Just that the social media is pushing out the bad ones. The good marriages don't talk. Somebody like me, I won't go to social media and say, yeah, because I am afraid of the backlash. So I keep it. We just read the stories, the bad marriages, but there are lots of millions of good marriages. Millions.
I love that. Make yourselves priority.
Yeah.
And that's a point she made. Sir, over to you. How are you able to swim against the tide from the man's perspective now?
It starts with intention and decision of where you want to end. We entered into marriage knowing that this is for life. Really, because in her own case, she experienced a good marriage. I also experienced a good marriage with my parents. But on the flip side, I, at a very young age, saw many examples of bad marriages. Then I didn't understand, or I didn't know that it will influence my decisions. But it made me to know which direction not to take. So we had that decision that this is for life. That is first. And then we were intentional. We talked a lot before marriage, even now. So because marriages would fall apart because of miscommunication, undercommunication, misunderstandings. And the more you talk, the more you clear those areas of misunderstandings. And you can at least have a common goal, a common understanding as to which direction to take. So we try to achieve that, which we have. Thank God for that. And well, on the other hand, we are faith people, and with prayer works. It helps a lot. So basically, we knew that it has to be something that we go in together. A marriage is that of partnership. And well, we're still going on.
There you go.
Well, that is very instructive, but I don't know if you could elaborate, and this is important because it is often said that unspoken emotion, resentment is at the heart of, what seems to be responsible for the breakup of most marriages. And, that causes us to reflect on how communication is, put out during conflict resolution in marriages, because there's no perfect marriage. Even
at all.
Even though you've told us about your experience, I'm sure that there are challenging times as well. So I'd like you to give us specifics about your approach to managing your conflict, the type of communication that you adopt that makes you keep succeeding for 29 years.
Why are you turning to me? Okay.
I wouldn't intrude it so much.
No, it's fine. Okay, the truth is that we all have emotions that we battle with sometimes. There are some times in the past I've asked myself, what am I doing here? Why did I even marry this guy? Because he would do some things that, But I go back deep inside myself and look at the good parts. No person is perfect. I look at him and I know that he's a kind man. He loves me, even if sometimes he does something. So I take hold of that. Because like you are siblings, even if you are siblings, we have times that we have issues. You can't just you deal with it.
Fight too many times.
Exactly. So what we do is that he is the one that is quick to apologize though, and I ride on that. Women, I ride on that. When we have issues, I just keep off, and no, you won't know. If we sit down here with you, you won't know that we're having issues. We talk. We do the normal things. We say, I cook, I make his food, I ask him, But there's a vibe that will be missing if you are very attentive. So what I do is that I just go inside of myself. I ask myself, does this guy hate me? I know he loves me, and I know he wants the best for me. So that is just a face. Is maybe a character that we just need to sit down and talk about. That see, this thing I don't like. But that's after days of me keeping malice with him. And once he says, then we now talk about it, and okay. Then in our marriage, there's no boss, there's no, there's no I'm husband or I'm, we are one. We work together. I'm not afraid to tell him how I feel. And he's not afraid to tell me. And when he tells me or I tell him, yeah, you may prove, but you don't come out and start, you see it as a point to resolve the issue, So we've had issues, several issues. But like I said, I go deep and I ask myself, does this guy hate me? Am I at fault? Am I better? We are both growing. It's a journey. It's a journey. And
let's hear it from the husband's perspective, which is very important.
Well, it's this thing is there is the gender difference, but we've come to understand that life is about transformation. Two people getting married are not the best that they should be. There are many years of change that would happen for them to get into the best of who they should be. We understood that. So there will be changes. And we decided that our marriage will be that of partnership and support. So the hitches are because of the changes that are occurring, and we need to trash that out. So basically, through any of the issues we've talked. So we put talking at the center before, and we put talking even during the conflict. Oh, there are times when we bone for each other.
There are times I've cried in the secret and asked myself, what am I doing here?
But we return to the table.
Exactly.
And the table is a table of sincerity. That's very, very important.
A table of sincerity.
If that wasn't there, there is no way you can resolve any conflict. There is absolutely no way you can resolve any conflict. Meaning that the words you say, how I speak to her, how she speaks to me, it's not to put in the knife and put in deeper. No, it's to bring it out and to heal. So that has always been at the center of any of our conflict resolution.
I love that analogy.
And I love partnership, Kadi, because most marriages, more often than not, you do not hear that word. One, is superior over the other. But
it's partnership.
Partnership, yeah.
And not to push the knife in, but to actually bring it out and heal. I actually felt you bringing out the knife. I felt that relief. So 29 years in a few weeks, or a month and a month plus. I don't know if you've had times where the spark just disappeared. Not even that, it just didn't have the spark anymore. Several times. Yeah. So how do you reignite the spark? Such that it doesn't turn to a fire, a full-blown fire, but it just keeps... Because, that's what the relationship thrives on. Maybe when you were chasing, you take her out, you write letters, maybe you could go into text messages then, right? But you buy gifts. But after a while, you're married and you just dress anyhow in the house. You've even forgotten when last you took her for dinner and stuff. So how are you able to maintain that cycle? Once the spark is going down, you reignite it, but still maintain that love phase, that my boyfriend, my girlfriend phase.
Well, let me go first here. Thank you so much for that question. Again, my expression of love to her, though she talks more than me, but in terms of expressing love, I try to do that often.
Yeah.
So your love language is the words of affirmation? Naturally?
No, it does it. It does it, yes. But yeah, my love language is public display of affection, which he struggles with. He's a very shy person.
Touch.
So once we get into the car or enter our house, yes, that's when he starts doing all that. But well, I give it to him. He's very romantic. I'm not the romantic one.
So
he's very romantic. He likes the words "I love you." He likes all. He does it a lot. And
but you like receiving the romance.
I know how to receive it.
You like receiving the romance.
I know how to receive it. Yeah.
Well, so from time to time, as one is able to as well, we redo those gigs that we did when I was wooing her. But we know very well that the reception of those gestures is very important as well, as an encouragement for more to come. We know that. So between my expression of my affection for her, and we do things together, things we love, we do it together. And that helps us to keep the flame,
still sparking. What is your recipe, man?
Recipe for
keeping the sparks, ensuring that we're still boyfriend, girlfriend. Because I've been noticing you've been smiling at each other. You people have been married for 28 years plus.
Well, we play a lot. Right. We gist and we watch movies together. We have the same taste in movies and
action, romance,
thrillers, action, espionage.
And I've had to develop tastes along the way that I never had.
But besides that, what do you do regularly to also deposit in Mr. Ekong's love bank?
I care for him a lot. He knows that. I'm always about meeting his needs, making sure that everything is okay with him, his food is ready on time. His work is moving on smoothly. In fact, he doesn't talk much.
Even when we are.
So what I do is that I just take his phone and look at, this and this is what he's doing now. Okay, so I ask him questions because he's not talking one, Then we go out a lot together. At least not even if it's not to go and spend money, we go out. We make ourselves and we make our children understand that we are the two that is constant here. You will go out, right? We spend time together talking. That's all. It's not an outing. We don't go out much. We just sit down with gist.
Yeah, I love the money part you said, because there's this song now. It says, "I'd rather be crying in a Bentley It's for Gen Z people. So what they're trying to say is money is important, right? So they'd rather do money in a relationship and then go through all of that stress. But what am I trying to say is the fact that you obviously have to work. Okay. Right, to make money, to buy things for her, take care of the family. And sometimes people say, well, let's work. Let's take this time, maybe the first 5, 10 years of our lives to invest in our career, you know, spend all of that time working, making money. Then we can talk about our love because we don't want to be poor, right? So how do you manage to still, you know, show love for each other in spite of demanding work? Because DevOps, architecture, I imagine that is very demanding. Yeah. Okay. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, okay, if I may answer that, when we got married, we had an understanding. When we started having children, he was traveling all around the country, you know. So I stayed at home taking care of the children, you know. I was a stay-at-home mom for years. Yeah, it was not easy because I didn't have a lot of things that I needed, but it paid off. It paid off. You know, when I look at my children today, anywhere they go in the world, I'm proud of them. I know that they are doing well. You know, so I stayed at home. I didn't work. I never worked. Though I did businesses here and there. At one stage, I was an event planner. I transited to DevOps just like 4 years now. So it's not the new, you know, and it's a remote thing. You don't go out, you know. So I'd always been the stay-at-home mom. I'd always been at home while he goes out. So that has always been the balance in the family.
So that's what works for you?
Yeah, that's what worked for us.
Because some women will say, no, and you be the stay-at-home dad.
It's what works because my focus had always been, I'd always wanted marriage. It's something that I wanted to invest my time in. It's a dream. I saw my parents, so I desired what my father had with my mom. So marriage was priority for me, not career. Though, of course, I couldn't buy the exotic things because my mates were, but marriage was very important to me and my children. It's a dream I had when I was a teenager. I've been looking forward to it. So there was no, money was not an issue.
So it was a sacrifice you were willing to make.
Yes, it was.
But would you say the fact that he was able to provide made all the difference? Because it's not all marriages where the woman can afford to make that sacrifice.
Yeah, true. But there were times too that we've had financial issues that we didn't have any. You know, then we step up together. The business I'm doing, we just pull it together. So it's not as if he's always been having the money. We've actually gone into we had financial issues for years where we didn't have money coming in. But we still maintained, whatever, you know. Money, for us, money is good. But we've never made it the base, the foundation of the basics. No, it's not. Where we have. We don't have. We still love ourselves and still do get what we can get, you know. It's not an issue. It's never been an issue. We don't look at it.
It's like he has some thoughts there.
There is an angle to this. Our understanding is that you can't get the fullness of the enjoyment of whatever money or wealth you have in the home without that bedrock of that peace, love. You can't. Just the same way as you can't really enjoy the money you have without a sound body. Yeah.
That's a fine place to anchor it. We must thank you very much for sharing your beautiful love story with us. And we hope that when you're celebrating your 30th, you'll be back here, you know, to also share the success story with us. Thank you so much.
How many children?
3. Yes.
Boys, girls.
2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Soft-spoken Mr. F. Ekong and frank Mrs. Ekong. Mr. Victor Ekong is an architect and Mrs. Adedoyin Ekong is a development ops engineer, DevOps engineer. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we thoroughly enjoyed your love story. And from here, we'll transit into another important talking point, just as important, how to deal with emergencies. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We've been joined in the program by the MD Barricade Executive Protection Limited, a security consultant, Ademola Adetuberu. He joins us from Abuja studios. Mr. Adetuberu, you're looking bright and shiny this morning. So let's get to the business of the day that has to do with how best we can manage emergencies in terms of our preparedness. I know you have this thing you want to walk us through? Maybe we'll start from there.
Okay, thank you for having me again this morning. I don't take it for granted. So emergencies are unpredictable, but preparedness is a choice. And knowing what to do will determine if the person would survive or the person would be, if the person would survive or there will be tragedy. So staying prepared is a choice. And the next thing I'm going to be talking about, what's the government role? Emergency response agencies must be proactive by conducting public sensitization, town hall meetings. Let's get to schools. Let's go to schools, get to religious organizations, conduct public sensitization by informing, sensitizing the public on what to do when they come across one. Whether fire, whether gun crossfire, whether accidents, and all of that. Also, it's so important for the community to also tag with the government agencies. Don't wait for them to come to you. You can as well invite them. Invite them to your schools. Invite them to the mosques, to the churches. Invite them to public spaces and let them put you through trainings on situational awareness, trainings on how to identify threats and vulnerabilities, trainings on EAT, hostile environment awareness training, trainings on personal safety during emergencies, and parental and guardian responsibility. These are trainings that every citizen ought to be equipped with. Then the next thing I'm going to be leaving us with personal emergency guide. It's a framework that I've created, which is called ALERT. ALERT. A there stands for assess, saying assess risk and identify potential threats. When you are driving, when you are in a public area, wherever you are, even in your office, even at home, you want to use this framework. Assess there means assess risk. A there means assess, saying assess risk and identify potential threats. The L there stands for learn. You need to learn emergency response techniques and drills. Let's not all wait for government. It's time for every citizen to also equip themselves with the knowledge they need, right? Security is everyone's business. So also emergency is everyone's responsibility. You need to be aware, because if you are not alert, you will not be alive. So you need to stay alert to remain alive. The E that stands for equip, which means equip yourself with safety tools and contacts. Safety tools, equip yourself with safety tools and what? Contacts that you need should you fall into any, maybe one chance or emergency that you require to please make a call. You need to equip yourself. The R that stands for respond. You want to respond, swiftly and follow emergency protocols. Learn to respond. If you don't equip, if you don't learn, how do you respond? So your personal emergency framework is so important, which is what I have formed ALERT. Assess, learn, equip, respond. And the T that tells us to tell others. Tell others, and also what? Communicate with authorities. Tell others once you have escaped from a particular thing, from a particular emergency, terror, gunfire, civil unrest. The next thing you want to do is to tell others, tell your families, tell friends, tell enemies. And also what do you want to do? You want to inform the authorities. Lastly, in conclusion, preparedness is not fear, it's power. That's your power to staying alive. Preparedness, it's not fear, it's what? It's power. You stay alert and you stay safe.
All right, Mr. Adetuberu, let's talk about some practical situation. Let's use kidnapping, for instance. It's quite common in this part of the country. So whether in city or maybe when you're driving across the border lines in terms of the states of the country. So what should somebody who is driving, say, from here to Benin, from here to Asaba, for instance, be on the lookout for when it comes to incidents of kidnapping? It's not as though you're expecting anything to happen, though, God forbid, but these things happen. We hear this report, we report these things at intervals. So what should the person have at the back of their mind in terms of what you're talking about, emergencies and all of this?
Okay, so thank you so much. So there are apps to also use, and thank God for the Google Map, right? It's an app that you can as well use. Before you get on the road, the first thing you want to do, you want to check on the map. You want to check on the map. There on the map, you would see where there are clusters, there's going to be traffic and all of that. And that can begin to inform you what could be happening at those spots. That's number one. Number two, while driving, when traveling, you want to pay attention to how busy the road is. If you notice you are alone for a while, you want to tell you, that should tell you that probably something is happening or had just happened, right? So what you want to do is not to keep driving. You want to find a public space, public area to pull over, right, and make inquiries. Oh, just ask questions. Is everything fine? Did anything happen? Right. That's another thing. Then the use of your mirrors, the use of your mirrors, the side mirrors and the inner mirror. It's so important even in driving. When driving, you don't want to don't just focus on where you are going, right? You also want to pay attention, what we call situational awareness. You are checking your side mirrors, check vehicles coming behind, check environment. Pay attention to your intuition as well. And if caught in kidnapping, what to do to stay alive is not to fight them. You want to remain calm. Remain calm. Pay attention to what we have called the scanning technique. Scanning technique in the sense that try to get their face, their clothes, their heights, their color, you want to pay attention to all of this. There's something, that it's going on in Abuja with the one chance people, right? Those that are able, when they call our office and the person is finally freed, we work with security agencies by giving them intelligence. How do we mean? You tell them, okay, these are the languages these people are saying. This is how they look. This is the type of vehicle. Okay. Right? They use. These are the number of people in the vehicle. All those information, that's what we tell. That's what I meant by saying tell, right? Communicate with others and authorities.
All right,
so
fantastic.
It's so important, to pay attention to all of this.
Fantastic. As always, bringing us up to speed as to what to do in emergency situation. MD Barricade Executive Protection Limited Security Consultant, Mr. Ademola Adetuberu, joining us from our Abuja studios. Thank you. I'm sure we're going to have you not too far away from now to bring us even more tips. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, it's going to be the last leg of the conversation. Join us in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Football, play a really good game and win. That is how it counts. Also, we have to understand that penalty is just a game of luck. We all saw it. Moving forward, we are eating good. I mean, good. Maybe we are not winning the league this season, but
Hello. It's a good day to remind you to support Manchester United. If you're not doing that yet, you can start now.
And when you hear Amorio Guatraba, yay, it means Amorim is going to take us to the next level.
Yes, you've seen her. Amirat Yakub joins us on the show this morning. She's a content creator. She's a Manchester United fan, for some people, sadly. But all-around amazing lady. Good morning, Amirat.
Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of things I want to say about Mashade, black coffee. All right, listen up. Do you want to do that? I love what you do. By the way, Ramadan Kareem to you.
Thank you so
I know
much.
2 days to go. You must be really excited.
Kenny, I'm excited. It's not easy now. If I was not fasting as I sit, I would have taken a bottle of water. I can't. I'm fasting.
I can't.
Would have done better, maybe with coffee or tea.
Right, but 2 more days.
But 2 more days to go.
That's why we're holding up.
There you go. I love how you're able to blend English with Yoruba, and then you bring in sports, you bring in comedy. It's a lot of things that you put together, and I must commend you. It's lovely what you're doing, which is, some would say, is unusual, again, for a hijabi in that sense. So speak to us. First of all, how did you find yourself in this space?
Okay, so it was sometime 2023, Liverpool against Manchester United. And for some reason, Liverpool, they won us 7-0. Thank God I already ate fufu before the match started. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, we thought we were going to equalize. But before you know it, 4, 5, 6, I was pained. So naturally, when I'm watching football match, I don't like watching with people who are not very familiar with me, because I don't want them to think that I'm doing too much.
Right.
But when I'm watching Manchester United match,
you're animated.
So that day, I was just like, Salah, oh, la, Luluju. Like, you're not being considerate. You're a Muslim. We were taught to be considerate. So my sister, she was just recording. She was just recording. So after the whole match, I was really pained. She sent me the video, and she was like, you have to post this. I said, okay. I managed and edited and just posted. It was late at night that I went to bed. The next morning, Twitter, Facebook, I was like, Kini Sele. That was it, honestly. Wow. It wasn't like I planned for it.
That was your viral moment.
Yes.
And you've been consistent. So you literally just go, how do you do it again? I need you to do it.
Listen up.
That's how she starts. Listen up. And then she comes and just pours it out.
And the interesting thing is that some people can say my lines. Listen up. And I go say,
I can say it.
Yes, I can see that.
We just want to keep listening to you, and we're going to allow you to do your thing at some point, because you're just fun to be with, fun to listen to, and watch perform. But how did you get into football?
Okay, so back in school, I used to play football, but it wasn't serious. And my mom did not want me to do it because I kind of have a physique of a boy. So she was concerned that, you shouldn't do this. Then after we moved from Oshodi, I stopped it. I didn't even do it. But I liked Manchester United, and I've been supporting them since I was 7.
Yeah, accept our condolences.
Thank God you're not an Arsenal fan. Sorry, respect the Arsenal fans, by the way. That to come out somehow.
So, I mean, that was it. So after that viral moment, I didn't have a good phone, but October last year, I got a new phone. So I just decided, I wasn't even sure what I was going to start creating. But, that day, Manchester United had a match. They lost. So I was just like, it wasn't even planned. It's not like I had a template or anything. I was just like, listen up. And the next morning, it was good as well. So I'm like, yeah, maybe this is it after all.
Wow, beautiful. You are a revelation in content creation as far as I'm concerned. And I love how you're able to do the transition from, Yoruba to English. It's just, it's miraculous.
Thank you.
But some of us don't know the difference between the colors of Manchester United and Manchester City.
Speak for yourself.
I said some of us, Jeffrey.
Good.
Ironically, you're almost wearing both colors. Almost.
Give me some space, Karen and Jeffrey. But when will you start doing something for Heartland of Owerri and Lobby Stars as well?
Let us start with Remo now. You're going too far now. There's Remo.
Yeah, they're all our local leagues, but something to support our local leagues as well.
Yes, that is in plan. So the thing is, it's one thing to be talented. Then it's another thing to have the fund to do what you're doing. I'm a big fan of do it right. If you're going to do it right. It's not use what you have to get what you want. When I was using Infinix, I knew that, look, it's not up to my standard. Sorry that I mentioned the name, but it's not like the camera is bad, but the phone that I was using at that time, it was low quality. So I didn't want to post out something that is not of a good quality, right? So I waited. I waited till I get something that I know, okay, this is it. So for these ones that you mentioned, I just gathered a number of people, and we're going to be working as a team, and we intend to explore more, because if you leave it to me,
Which translates to, let me just leave it there, just in case you don't speak Yoruba. And that's important. You need a team. And I'm glad you're seeing it that way, because it's actually the team that will take you far.
Yeah.
You've come this far, yes, we just recorded, but you actually need a team behind the scenes, doing your research for you, doing all of the legwork. You are the, you are the ideator, you have the brilliant ideas, but you need a team. Fantastic, because that's what will keep you. Someone is asking that you do the Nigeria-Zimbabwe match impression for us, because it was very disappointing for a lot of Nigerians. So maybe to find closure, because we were going to win that match. Osimhen had scored after a lot of work, and then just dying minutes.
I'm still pained.
You're still pained, right? So maybe to get closure, is that something you want to help us with in terms of content? Because we need to tell them, listen up.
Like right now? Yeah.
That's your camera.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. We're not putting you on the spot.
No,
we just need a few lines from you.
I'm worried.
I'm worried. I love that.
Beautiful. Listen up. I could say, we must do Nigeria to Zimbabwe, or Simel one binu lodoni, or one binu, boy, lower cob, Lazico, Epada Lobobaya. Man said that, or they said that they read on my cookie. I thought I fell on the aqua, Jeros Ross. Kiskin, come skinny, or but I grew a driver, yeah. You are not of food, or Daphne, Kajail.
Whoa. I want to translate that.
Yes, go ahead.
So let me do that. All right, listen up.
Yes,
what she said was that, you know what, don't worry. Even if we don't go to World Cup this time around, we'll find a way to go there. But she basically commended the team, Osimhen, for doing great stuff, that he will take us beyond. So did I do well?
I tried. You're Daphne.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're Daphne.
But we want you to ensure that this gets bigger for you as well, right? So what is your plan? What is that big picture that you have?
Okay, so it's going to be shocking that, I started speaking English when I was about 20. Yes, so, yes, 20.
Say it again.
I started speaking English when I was about 20.
So what were you speaking
what
before?
What medium of language were you taught within school?
Yoruba.
You were taught?
No. But, I mean, if you speak English to me, I would understand. But I couldn't express myself in English. So...
I'm sorry, how old are you now?
I'm 26. I'll be 27 this year.
So you just said you're a 6-year-old when it comes to English. I'm sorry, go on.
No, Kenny. Flexi money. You see.
That's beautiful.
Yes, thank you. So when it comes to planning, for me, I realize that sometimes when I plan, it doesn't come the way that I have planned. So I allow things to go, and this is one of the reasons why I'm going to start working with a team of people. Maybe if they do the planning, they just call me and we get to carry out things together. So
You're a literal miracle.
thank you.
You're a miracle. Your viral moment now, you just told us that your English language is 6 years old. Technically, by what you imply and all of that. And then you can articulate, so your elocution is good. You can believe us because we're broadcasters. So we're impressed.
Thank you
And
very much.
it means that the future is really bright for you. And that's why we brought you here, to just celebrate you. And of course, everybody has to look out for you.
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
just be you. Be original, be authentic.
Yeah.
Don't compromise.
Thank you.
Mama
Fantastic.
AKA Mama Sade #1.
Where did that come from?
I've always liked the name Shadi. So some people think I am Shadi. I am not, but I've always liked that name. So by God's grace, when I have my kid, maybe a boy.
Even if it's a boy, you give him Shadi.
Yes, I did.
And you could try your hands on sports commentating as well, because you've got the voice and you've got the diction. And I'm just wondering, are you content creator by day and you somehow make yourself available as a radio presenter in the morning?
I've worked in radio stations before now. But, now I'm trying to look after my mom and my dad, and I need to get money. And that is, I just have to do this content creation thing as a side hustle.
And it's working?
It is working.
Don't
Thank
worry.
you so much.
The future is bright. We can guarantee you that by the grace of God.
Absolutely. We have to thank you so much, Amira Yakub, content creator. Black coffee, your skin is skinning, as they say.
Hang on,
Amen. Thank you so much, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whew. What a day we have to run now. Thank you for being a part of the show.
That's a good way. That's absolutely a good way to end the show for the week. Thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Ozong.
I concur. Beautiful landing for the week. Thank you so much for being there. We'll be back again on Monday. I am Bukola Koka.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Tomorrow, that is.
Tomorrow.